Show about how you can 10x your veggie garden or homestead using the power of worms and compost. Now, I have a few designs where you can connect up around the garden. Others have done this and had some really good success. So I'm going to show you a series of videos. Hopefully they'll all pull up well as I'm learning how to use this new software and bring this content to you. So there may be a couple of hiccups with the audio and things going up and down. So if it is, just don't worry about it too much. Just tweak it a bit here and there, and you'll get a really good show. And then we'll talk about the content in the video and how you can actually produce a really productive organic garden and start creating a pest-free zone where you keep pest and free diseases out of your garden as well by using these methods, and also grow bigger crops, more volumes, healthier plants, more biodiversity, all that stuff. That's all in here, so I'm looking forward to bringing it to you. Let's watch the first video. Scroll right, stay with me guys if you're watching the rerun as well, because there's a lot in here and you can leave questions below in the comments box for me and I will get to you. Okay, let's roll this out guys. G'day worm wranglers, Marty Ware here from Marty's Garden, your happy worm farmer. Look, I had a couple of questions from some people who watched the video about the giant worm farm and how they work and why you should possibly have one. Well, I probably didn't go deep enough in that video, and I'm glad that I got some of these questions because I want to answer them, because it looks as though a lot of you crew want to set these up in your gardens, and I reckon they're the bomb and you really should have them. The future of worm farming, in my opinion, towards organic gardening is connecting these systems up to the garden. So something that I want to teach over time and get this message out to the world about recycling waste and turning it into something valuable. So we had two people write a similar question, so I'm just going to read out one of the questions and it'll answer that for both of them and also anyone else that's watching this, because I'm sure you are very curious more about this system, right? So Jerome Garcia and Todd Hobbleson. Hopefully I got your names right, guys. Give us a big thumbs up if you're here and let me know that you've caught this video down below, or anyone else that's getting value from it. So the question is, how do the barrels bins work? Are they open to the earth? So I'll answer that and a few more regarding, because there are other questions, but I just want to read it out and just bore everyone to death. The thing is, you need to have them open to the earth so the rain will come through and it's connected to the ground. You want all that water and moisture going through down into the earth and feeding the subsoil down below. And what happens is that'll bring the earthworms up into that system. They'll also breed around the bottom of that system, the earthworms, lay their cocoons, work on the subsoil down below, and all that moisture that's going down through the system will then go out into the ground and heal the land around it, right? And what that will do is bring in the microbiology and the fungi and all that type of stuff. Then you can plant gardens around the bottom of it, which is really awesome, right? If you can plant a garden around the bottom of a worm farm and it's connected and you're not buying any fertilizers and things like that, look, I think it's just a win-win and you can't really go wrong. You do need to have a lid on them from time to time just to sort of maybe keep something out or to trap some heat in there, do whatever you want, but you need to have airflow. So that was really one of the other questions about airflow. I do have a video and I'll leave it up here in the links about how I built the system. I think it's one of the original ones, a bit over a year ago. And yeah, you need to drill some holes around the top and around the side. So check out that video if you're interested. And the rest of the question is, so connecting them to the earth, and then how do they work? Well, I think I pretty much explained that by opening them up and connecting to the earth. That's how they work. And what we do is we feed the worms in the top layer, and then we can actually pull the whole bin up if we want to and just get our shovel in and just take the whole lot away. Or we can just shovel out bits of castings and compost over time and use it and spread it around the garden. You never even have to move it if you don't want to, but they are portable at the same time, and then you can walk around and feed your garden. So connect it to your garden is really, really important. Now I've got my list here. I want to make sure I'm going through the right things. Okay, vermin. Vermin was something else that I saw people writing about and talking about in there. Now, if you've got it close to the house or an area where you might have some mice or rat problems or things that are going to dig underneath and get underneath, you might want to put some type of wire mesh down below there or something that doesn't rot or rust away too quickly. Just try to avoid plastics. That's what we're trying to do this day and age, unless these plastic systems are going to be used for years and years and don't go out into the landfills quickly. So look at that option. And look, if you've got them out in the open, like I do, you really don't have vermin problems. Depends on what you're feeding the system as well. Then you won't have vermin problems. So usually cow manures and things like that are no problem at all. Now, if you want to warm them up, you can use things like coffee grounds and cow manure, chicken manure, stuff like that for feeding the system. Just be careful we don't overdo it, because that stuff's highly nitrogenous. Is that a word? Let me know in the comments box down below. That's cool though. And it can let out gas, and that's one reason why we have the holes in the worm farm, because depending on what we're feeding on it, there's gases coming off it and stuff. And I killed some of mine in one of my first original ones by being lazy and not putting holes, and I just didn't think that I thought the compost was finished. Obviously it hadn't, and it got gassy, and I was away for a week and I lost thousands. It was really, really sad. So yeah, have nice holes in the worm farms and they'll do really good. Right, so I'll check the next part of the list here. They're self-fertilizing, which is unreal, builds the microbes up, and I've pretty much answered everything. So if you like these type of videos where I go in and answer your question, guys, give me a big thumbs up. Let me know in the comments box down below. I really want to build community and establish something here that's not really found on YouTube. It's not all about just creating the ultimate video where it gets sort of like these massive runs of numbers and things. It's about connecting with you guys and getting the education out there as well. So if you're digging that, give us a bush ranger a thumbs up, and I'll see you at the next. There we go. Yeah, I shot that I think about a year ago now, and what I'm basically talking about, and I've got another video coming up which will take it even deeper and show you the plants around it and things like that. So what we're doing is we're starting to decide to connect our worm farms to the earth, and this generally happens once we've learnt worm farming a bit. We've learnt how to use the 3-tiered system. I had another video lined up before this one and it doesn't want to play for some reason. It only allows me to store one video at a time, so there's a little bit of a hiccup in something going on here. But if we get our worm farms right, so our 3-tier ones, we learn how to do that, what happens is we end up getting more stock. And I teach that in, you get that in my worm farming ebook, Starting a Worm Farm, a Beginner's Guide, which is available in the link down below in Amazon and on my website. And also in the Worm Wranglers members area, you can get access to the videos via level 3 there. So once you learn how to run a successful 3-tiered worm farm or a 2-tiered worm farm, you always end up with more stock than you need. And then if we're gardening and we're doing this, we want to either put underground worm farms and put our overflow into those, or build these big above ground ones like the biggest worm farms ever models that I'm showing you here. And this is how you 10 times X your garden, by producing the compost coming out of your kitchen as kitchen waste, turning into worm castings and you know, liquid worm drenches, things like that to fertilize your plants with, and things really start to happen big time. And once you do that, you know, and you allow a little bit of time, a little bit of patience, things really start taking off, and it just gets better and better over time. So before we pull in the next video, which explains it even further, what we're going to do is we'll bring across some comments and say g'day to everyone. And you know, we can do Q&A in between videos. If you want to wait until you watch the second one and ask questions, that's okay too. If I can, the other one's looking at me right there. If I can play it, I will, but it was supposed to be the first video where we shown the 3-tiered one. But it's all working. You'll still get a very good value content today. And we've got people here on the show, so let's bring them across. Morning, Marty and everyone. Coffee time. That it is, my friend. Alison, good morning, everyone. Hello. Hi, everyone. Great to see you all. Thanks, Deb. Lovely to see you here. Deb's our moderator for today on the show, so thanks for being here, Deb. G'day, you Wranglers on the rocks and the soil. Michael Godbold. Hey, mate. How you going? You got a new channel out or what? Content in there yet? There we go. Evening, Alison. Thanks for saying hi. It's nice to have a mate. Always is. It's a good place to connect here and make new friends and things like that. And people are doing that all the time inside this community, which is just loving to see. The new mantra behind this channel is not only about growing food and showing people how to recycle and grow food cheaply and regenerate gardens and all that type of stuff using compost and compost worms and all our lovely insects and birds and all that stuff, but also growing people as well. So yeah, we're here. We're in the job of growing people, if that makes sense. And we've got some thumbs up here. Hello, everyone. G'day. If you're getting into the show already, please leave us a thumbs up. Be great to get that from you all and help YouTube understand that I'm bringing a lot of value. You're enjoying the show. Now, value can be seen in many different ways, such as just joining up, connecting with community, making friends, getting a bit of education, a bit more information under your belt, and and learning. And so we are here. And Stu, if I miss anyone, please forgive me. Doing my very best to roll them out. G'day to all from Stu, and we've got a warm welcome. And it says here, this is me, I typed this in while the video was going. We will do questions in between vids here. I have a few lined up for you today to show you all. So we've definitely got another one I'm pretty sure we can roll in. And then I've got something surprising for you. I did some research online this morning while I was thinking, how can I make this show a little bit better? And I found a product. Now, I haven't trialed it, but it looks really cool. And it's like a worm farm that's attached to a garden mold sort of thing. And it's something similar to a small one that I'm teaching here in this, but it is a product. I've reached out to the company this morning quickly, and they've asked me what my channel is. So who knows, even if you've got time, they might even pop in here. Okay, and get in the chat. And yes, please remember to put a Q before your questions. That's always. And what we do is, if you've got any questions regarding the content that's coming out, we do that first. And then towards the end of the show, if you've got any other questions that you want to ask me that are sort of like not related on topic today, but you've got a question for me, please feel free to do that further on in the show. Vermicompost, good to see you. Oh, Vermicompost LPD. All right, that's awesome. Yeah, leave a comment in the box down below after or while this is running. I don't think you can comment while it's running, but then I can get the link and I'll go across and take a look. All right, cheers, Michael. Thanks, Zebra. Simplify Gardening. G'day, Tony. Good to see you here, mate. I know you've got big interest in worm farming and composting and all that stuff, and we're talking about 10xing your garden today using worm farming systems and connecting them to the land. It's a word now, Marty. It's a word. What's the word? I'm a little bit lost. My brain's going, thinking lots of different things at one time here, but we're moving forward. I know G'day Wranglers is definitely a word. G'day Worm Wranglers. Good to see you here, mate. And what do we got here from Vermicompost? Vermicompost. Learn by doing. On the rocks and in the soil, Michael Godbold. Good to see you as well. Thanks for the help with the EP, letting me know. Okay, you guys are just having a chat in there. Let's keep rolling forward before I try and pull up the next video. Hopefully everything's going to work really good. Oh, name change. Yeah, okay. Thanks, mate. Thank you very much. Ooh, okay. Fourth wise man. Patience is the key. When things get happening, it builds and builds and builds and gets better and better and better. Patience is definitely. Now, that's some wise words here from the fourth wise man. Yeah, because what happens is when we start building our composting systems, when we're building our quality worm farming systems, and we're scaling up wormeries to attach to the ground and move them around in different systems and things like that, we really start changing things up. And once we start connecting things up, so I'm pretty sure in the next video you'll see some connected up row by row and things like that. The biology and everything moves through from each one. I call them my worm biology highways, and then things really start going. So I found within sort of 6 months, really good results. Within 1 year, amazing results. Within 2 years, absolutely phenomenal, mind-blowing stuff. I wish that I had filmed it, but at that time it was just like I was showing like my big basil, my giant basil bushes and how much I was growing, and it wasn't getting a lot of traction. I don't know if it was because I wasn't making the videos correctly or the titles or the thumbnails right, but I sort of lost a bit of sort of hope in it, but I wish I had filmed it now. But anyway, we live and we learn as we go, and luckily I had to keep some of the files, and we can bring them back, repurpose them, and show you the old garden, because I'm building this out, the new one, bigger and better, with even better systems, but this the same format is there. G'day Wendy, nice to see ya. Q's the word. Yep, Q's the word. Patience is hard for me. Here we go. Lol, I want stuff yesterday. Yes. This is the world of yesterday. But no, we've got to learn a bit of patience, especially when it comes to good organic gardening. If we don't have the patience, then what happens is we get pest problems and things, and we chase out and try and get instant solutions. It's a long-term thing that we do, and we just get better and better. As we get better at it, it actually becomes easier than, say, the other form of gardening. Excuse me. Oh, sneezing. I probably will sneeze in a second. That's the first time for the show. I normally get it beforehand. Oh, wow. Anyway, we'll keep on moving here and going through, and I'll work on pulling up the next nitrogenous is the word. Yeah. Oh, that's the word. Yeah. Is it a word? I don't know. Like, it's a funny one. Anyway. Yeah, I need the blessings, all the ones I can get. Now let's try. I'll try and get this other video up now, and what's the second one? And I've just got to add it to my what they call my source, and hopefully it all comes up good. Did we get success? Yes, we did. It's going to play. All right, so I'm going to roll it out side by side, and then you'll see me. I'll scoot underneath for a little bit, and then I'll disappear for a part of the video. If the sound goes up and down, I'm trying to play with the sound a bit in here, but if it's going up and down, just tune it a little bit yourself. All right, let's move into the second part where you get a good look at this bio system, right? Bio, worms, composting, connecting it all together. And this was when I was about only a few months in, so it just got better and better over time. Let's go. G'day my friends, Marty Ware here from Marty's Garden with a micro vlog for you today. It's really an update about my micro farm and the systems that I'm putting together here. It's like a bio-organic system that involves composting worms, compost, and creating these central loops all together where everything's recycling and turning back into each other and becoming better and better, like a fine wine, just producing more and more food, more and more great compost, and even bringing in a small income on the side, which is just absolutely like, it's amazing, this model really, and it's very, very cool, and it's taken me a long while to get to this. So in a way, this video is super valuable to many people out there, right? It's like this free resource to go, hey, I can actually grow food, I can farm compost worms and maybe even sell those, and I can sell a compost going out the end of it, and it doesn't cost me much money at all. Pretty much so, yeah, you can, and I'm living proof of that. So what I've been doing is I've been lining up my worm farms. I've got all my small ones in a row, which you see used in the courses, in the Worm Wranglers courses. Then it goes out around the corner and joins up with a big, massive, biggest worm farms ever, I call them. And they're all lined up, going along the windrow where I collect the harvesting material for the compost. the worms go into the big barrel, into the big worm farm. They move around through there, they eat it, lay their castings in their cocoons, they move up and down through the system, out through the bottom, out through the top, doesn't really matter, they just go around and fertilize that whole area, move all that biology around, that great stuff, and create this centralized loop. So I grow food below the base of the big worm farms, and then I use a chop and drop system. So near the end, when the herbs are finished, at the moment I've got a whole lot of basil growing in there, which they're covering over the worm farms at the moment and stopping the sunlight from making them hot, which is just absolutely unreal, right? And you know, they're pollinate, like giving pollen to the bees, habitat for the little animals, and producing me food. I even sold some compost the other day. I gave some away to a customer, and she gave me a big jar of lemon basil pesto, and I tell you what, I still got some in the fridge. It's absolutely killer. So it's producing food for me, it's producing food for the neighbours, and pesto, and I tell you what, I still got some in the fridge. It's absolutely killer. So it's producing food for me, it's producing food for the neighbours, and it's just an all-round win-win situation. And depending on where you are in your climate, your zone, what you would like to plant underneath them, you can actually put probably big straw bales underneath them. I've got my straw bale system going out, which I'm teaching now in the Worm Wranglers section members area, and it all joins up into this central loop. Whatever's finished at the end gets composted. The worms keep moving up and down and keep breeding and just getting more and more of them. I just couldn't be happier at the moment, to be honest. It's really, really going great, and hopefully I can take it further, way into the future in my dream, to a developing nation. We can help them produce some really great food too. But that's, you know, that's something further on down the line. And it's not a pipe dream. I really believe it's going to happen. Maybe you'll come along with me. Even support the channel during that time. Start getting some of that beautiful food out to those kids that don't have it. I just love the kids, right? Anyway, please let me know what you think about this system down below. If I've been watching it, you've seen it, or you're new to it, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. Subscribe if you want to keep following the worm farming, the regenerative gardening, all this really cool stuff that's going on here at Marty's Garden. Alright, let's keep it rolling, my friends. How cool is that? I was able to play 2 videos, bring them up into the system, and then roll them out to you. And it shows you, instead of me just talking the whole time, it actually shows you what can be done. And like that garden really started exploding after, like within, again, like I said, only a few months. Within 6 months it was doing really awesome. And I was planting all around the bottom of those worm farms, those big open worm farms. And also the worms were going down deep, especially the big night crawlers, even the red wigglers as they were getting larger, they're eventually going down deep. Now they were saying they only stay 6 inches in the profile. I was finding them down a couple of feet and then moving under, and as I was moving the mulch away around the bottom of the garden, they were fertilizing all that. And if I pulled out all the plants and stuff, and they would move along to the next worm farm and move up and go up into that. So they'd move along, go up, and as I was just expanding out, I was just adding another one. And then as I'd go through my compost and stuff, I'd find more, and I'd just throw them in those big farms, just kept on filling them full of compost. And before I knew it, man, I had explosive numbers, and because there's so much room for them to move, they were growing really big. And what happened is then they would move out into the windrow, which is a big long compost row, where I would dig that out and put it into bags and sift it and sell it. I would then grab the worms out of there as I saw them and throw them back into those big farms. And as I said, they just started moving down through the system. They just crawl from each one to the next. It was just absolutely phenomenal. And believe me, I have not seen anyone else. I'm not going to big note myself here, but I have never seen it done before online. If it's been done before, I'd love to know, because maybe they're doing something better than me. I can learn from them. And I'd love to see. I know some of the worm wranglers have been doing it and been getting really good success from it. I think she calls hers the Daleks, which is really cool. And, you know, it's just been sensational. And I can't say anything better. So what I'm going to do in my backyard now is I've got a whole lot of fruit trees. They're quite big. I'm able to set them up all underneath the fruit trees. I'll create another big windrow, and I'm just trying to get rid of a lot of the weeds here at the moment, so I don't get a lot of weeds in my compost and things. But that's going to be that's a big plan to do. If you've been watching my show, I've got a lot of problems here from the weeds left behind before I moved in. But we're getting there, and once I start connecting them all up, I've got one sort of above ground worm farm now. It's exploding. I will show that in the near future in some videos, and I'm going to move my whole system from around the side of the house, my wormery, around about 8 worm farms, and a small windrow, and one above ground one, and move it around. So we'll keep moving into the questions here, because I know there's going to be questions about this, and you'll be very interested to ask things. So let's keep moving here. All right. Using outdoor worm beds to build up biology in future food growing beds as I expand my growing beds. Using outdoor worm beds to build up biology in future food growing beds as I expand my growing beds. So that's what it's all about. Once we start getting these systems in place and they're breeding up well, we understand how to farm them, we understand how to breed them, that they're getting bigger numbers, then we start expanding them out into the worm farms. And as I mentioned in the video, when it's going cold, then we hot compost in those areas. And by hot composting in those areas, the worms sit on the outside. They find exactly the right place where they want to go. And we've got to be careful in the big worm farm their systems have enough airflow. If we're adding those type of nitrogens and things to heat things up, we're also producing trapped gases and stuff. So I just leave the lids open, and I was covering them. I'm pretty sure we saw that in the video. I was actually covering them in a cloth. I was using a old shade cloth, but you could use anything to cover them over, as long as you're letting the airflow. Don't worry about them escaping and getting out, because once we've got these big numbers going, we actually want them to escape out and move to another system or into the garden or out into another thing. But we want to add to them slowly so they can move to the next farm, and to the next farm we expand out our numbers. And that's what I plan to do up in the back corner here. And who knows, if we, I just keep expanding out in time, and someone comes in and wants to help me run the micro farm, then we may do that. But you saw at the end of this video, I mentioned about taking this to Southeast Asia, right? Now that's been a part of my dream for a very long time, and one of the reasons why I've designed this. They have compost worms there. They do compost quite well. They've got other systems put in place that would attach to mine, such as the bottle gardening and things like that, to produce food for these people that don't have the food. Teach them how to do it. So teach a man to fish, don't give them a fish, and they can actually, so it's designed to make money, it's designed to scale. It's actually, because there's more hands-on there, they can have more hands-on workers, and it would run much more efficiently in a southeast, in a third world country than it would here, because the wages are too big and things like that, or the family gets together and all does it and just works together. So I just, I know it would come up with problems, but if we get to that stage and the Lord blesses it, we're going to be moving forward with that, and that will be coming a part of the story in here. As I said, it will happen. It's just a matter of when. Okay, when we will do a Q&A. That's me. Found a product. Yeah, we're going to be showing this product in a little while, and it's pretty interesting product. I haven't used it, but it's something that I want to hear what you guys have got to say about it, what you think about it, and what I think about it just by looking at it. And that's coming up very soon. We've got 17 people watching. Please give us a big thumbs up if you haven't. We try and keep the thumbs up numbers above the people watching, so we want to go above 17 if we can. Bang, 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 big thumbs up if you're getting value and you're loving the show, and just loving the show in general overall, coming each day and connecting and producing these pieces and showing you different ways that you can turn your worm farms into just amazing systems. Let's keep going here, Cheryl. It's a shame you couldn't bring it all with you when you moved here. That's important too. Hopefully you get it back. I had 2 weeks to move. I was blessed with this new house, and it was just like, right, what's ahead of me? I didn't really know. to be honest. I didn't know if I was going to be worm farming again. I didn't know. Well, I knew that I was going to be gardening in some way. It was all just open up in the air. All I knew is that we would not be homeless in the future. I had somewhere stable for my daughter, and that was the main thing. And I did it all on my own. 4-hour, 6-hour drive, 4 to 6 hours, backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. It was gnarly, but we did it. Look where we are now. And yeah, awesome. Like I said, if I can take this to Southeast Asia, and I may be asking for some support, guys, if in the near future, to help me get that done. I believe it'll be the legacy that I've been working towards for a very, very long time. I've got contacts in Southeast Asia. My daughter at the moment, we're looking at organising a Thai passport for her. She was born in Bangkok, and there's things happening. So, like I said, it's just a matter of just believing in what God's going to bring forward. Okay, Marty, do you take notice of the weeds, as in the roots, what they have? Long, thin roots are usually potassium deficiency in the soil. The long root weed is there to add that missing element. Yes, I do take notice of the weeds, and we do get people come in here from time to time bring this up, and I have brought it up in live shows before. And yes, the broadleaf weeds is one we've been talking a bit about, how the big long taproot actually breaks up the clay soil and brings up the nutrients down below and then lays it into the leaves. And I feed them to the chickens, throw them back into compost, things like that. And some of them, I see them when they're small, I let them grow and then come and get them later. So yeah, but it's something that we talk about. Today's about doing worm farming and 10-time Xing your garden, right? So when you start to learn how to produce the castings, you're learning how to make a worm drench, a worm tea, such as I teach on this channel and in the Worm Wranglers members area. We've also got, for Worm Wranglers now, we've also got a Facebook group there where people, it's only the minimum payment, it's $3 a month. If you want to come in and join, there's links below. But you do need to be a Worm Wrangler member, either on the YouTube channel or over in the Buy Me a Coffee page. And like I said, it's like that's cheaper than a coffee a month to come in, share your images, get more information, have a chat with other members and things like that when we're not running the live shows. And that's the only way we can do it. YouTube doesn't provide anything for us to do that other than me putting posts in. Okay, Q. When they're in the garden, raised beds, do they eat the roots of plants? Just don't want them to eat my plants so they don't grow. Great question. And in aquaponics systems, they learnt this because aquaponics has been around for a long time, but really it was slowly introduced to the internet. And they didn't, one of the biggest problems they had with in the beginning of aquaponics is they always had to, when the plant's finished, pull out these roots and remove the plants, and it used to mess up the whole system, make everything get dirty and the whole lot. And what they found was by introducing compost worms into these aquaponic systems, flood and drain ones, the worms would be in there and they would eat. So they just chop the plants like we do in permaculture systems, chop the plant at the ground and leave the root mass in the ground. So they're actually like just chopping the plant, leaving the root mass, and the compost worms would go through and eat the dead roots. So they only eat dead roots, so rotting material that is organic and breaking down. So even if it drops leaves and things and goes into the system, they're going to grab that and eat that. So no, they don't eat any of the good quality white roots that we're asking. So great question, Cheryl, there. And here we go. We'd love to be a part of it, Marty. Love it. Wonderful. Well, as I said, there's links in the description there for becoming a Worm Wrangler member. Well, if you're a Worm Wrangler member already, but you can go in and get access to the group if you are. Let's keep moving down here. More thumbs up. Yes, please give us a thumbs up. Let's YouTube know we're getting value. You're getting value here on the show. And we're going to pull up this product soon. We're not too far away, and give you a look at it. And I want to hear your thoughts on what you think of it too. So let's go. Question. So could I use the old square compost bin to make an above ground worm farm? Yes, you can. Anything like that that just connects to the ground. Just know. So in summertime, the more volume you've got, and you've got them out in the sun, the less they're going to heat up. right? And you can take the lid open and they can crawl over the side at night when it's raining, and they just go back up. And so they move, or they spread out a bit, but they're just going back up. So once you start getting good numbers in there, Deb, so you could actually now set one up, let it sit for a while, to start putting compost in there and some sugarcane, stuff like that. Let it start to decompose a bit, and then just starting putting some numbers in there with worm blanket over the top. Just slowly over time, and connect it to where you've got plants growing around. Just remember, if you've got tomatoes and things, they're going to grow down and go up underneath, but that's okay. Again, it just depends on what you want it to do, because we're talking about 10xing your garden. So when you've got that big one above the ground like that, the tomato roots go up and underneath, and they're getting it into all that nutrient rich stuff, man, and they're just exploding like no tomorrow. And in the winter I found that where I was, because the farm's black, I was planting it around the side away from the wind where the sun was coming in and trapping, and that whole system was warming up the ground around that space and the plant's roots. And so the plant thought it was summer earlier, and it was just, one of the tomatoes was going mental, absolutely mental. I think I mentioned before, I made $400 on selling cherry tomatoes off one plant, and that's, I'm not lying, guys. And that was, I was selling bags, cherry tomato bags. So a sandwich bag full was $5 to one of the local restaurants, and they're ordering heaps every day. So I think we're doing $20 a day just in cherry tomatoes to that one restaurant. They were doing basil, we're doing other herbs, and also microgreens to that one. So we're doing about $100 a day to that one restaurant. So what we got here, I completely understand, Marty, if just that was here and that, lol, no problem. We just got to do what we can do and do the best we can do with it, and keep moving forward. All right, now I want to make sure I haven't missed anything. You never ever upset me. No. We love having you here, Cheryl. Love it. Thanks for coming. You know, I use deep tap rooted weeds as a bioaccumulator. Gives leaves to worm farms. I use deep tap rooted weeds as a bioaccumulator. Give the leaves to the worm farms. That's a really good tip there, because those deep tap rooted weeds, so the big broadleaf weeds, they hold a lot of nutrients, a lot of minerals, and if you're feeding them back, that is a great tip, man. That's what I'm saying about this community. It is the stuff that comes in here, the content that comes in here is priceless. Even I can't come up with some of this stuff, and the knowledge is just, it's unreal. Great, thanks, Marty. Not like me to ask good questions. You do ask good questions. Yes, you do. Okay, here we go. On the rocks, good method. It is a good method, and as I said, I've never seen it really taught anywhere else other than what I started teaching it first, and other people bringing it forward. We'll go and have a look at this product in a minute. Looks like the questions are slowing up for a little bit, and so we'll have a look, and it's coming up. So if you're coming in late in the show, we're talking about 10xing your garden with worm farming, and adding these big above ground worm farms. And firstly, learning how to worm farm is the most important thing, and then understanding how we start connecting them all up. And then even if you want to, you can turn these things over. So once they're full and they're done and they're finished, you've got a lot of worm castings, a lot of good compost that you can sell. And it sells at quite a good price. And so not only can you grow plants with it, at the same time, you can make a few extra bucks on the side. And I know, because I sold bags of it and I started off just in Marketplace. And it did really, really well. Okay, let's go to this page here. I'm going to pull this up. We're sharing the screen. I just got to get it there. And just give me a second. I get a bit sinusy from talking the whole time, but we keep rolling forward. That's a part of the whole thing, right? Is the live shows and getting this information out, people putting the great questions and adding value through the community and growing people. So let's get this page on here. I'll have to go off to scroll down, but we'll have a look at the first little slideshow thing they got going here, and we'll have a chat about it. Okay, so you can see they've got this like a, I think they've only got the one product at the moment. I have to dive in a bit deeper. I only found it very quickly this morning. And what they've got there is it's like a, so it's got like an above ground worm farm system that sort of leaches down below like I was talking about, and then has like a cup at the bottom that you can fill full of, you know, good compost. And actually the worm farm's actually in the center. So it's a pretty interesting product. Now he has a video about it, so hopefully the video plays well. I'm going to pull it up from YouTube. Now the sound is always different from what I have to what these have. Excuse me. So if the sound's a bit low, turn it up. If it's a bit loud, just turn it down a bit. But we will go in. I'm just going to find the page. I'm going to show you the video. Then we'll go back and have a look at the web page. And I think there'll be some pretty good questions related to this. I really want to know your thoughts on it. I have some thoughts on it already. But as I said, I haven't trialed it yet. Right, and these guys don't even know who I am. I've contacted them before. You think you'd do their research, wouldn't you? And reach out to me on with something like this, because they're in Australia at Surfers Paradise, just up the road. All right, so let's keep rolling. I'm going to stop sharing this page, and I'm going to get another page up. So we'll keep moving forward here, and share the screen onto this video. Now it should bring the audio out no problem. It's called Composta. We're going to share that page, and we'll get it to the beginning of the start of the video, and hopefully no ads pop up, and we'll go with the flow. Let me know if there's no sound down below. My daughter on the sound engineer has disappeared. We've got the phone, my mobile phone, connected up to something else so I can listen and check. So we're slowly getting better at this, but yeah, I'll need to know pretty much straight up if you don't have any sound. So let's go with it and see what we can do here. Remember, turn the sound up or down.
There's a beautiful little balcony or patio worm farm that simply runs on your kitchen scraps that you put down the center. The compost worms then feed on your kitchen scraps and turn it into lovely, rich fertilizer. And the key to its success is the compost worms don't want to poop in their own food. So they go inside via these holes, get a feed, come out, and they put their manure in the potting mix. And that is exactly where you want it, because their manure is then feeding the roots of the plants. And there's this awesome designed drainage system in the pot. That's the highest section, so it drains your scraps to stop them from getting boggy and smelly. And then it slowly drains to the outside and to the front of the pot. And that gives the plants every opportunity to suck up the nutrients. So the plants are happy and the worms are happy. And every time you water it, that liquid fertilizer that comes out, you can tip back on, or you can tip it onto other plants you're trying to grow. It's just a great way to use the scraps to grow beautiful, healthy produce.
Okay, how's that? I'll get rid of that. I'll stop sharing the screen there, and we'll look at something else. So we'll go to the web page, and we'll have a bit of a look at that. But I think that's pretty clear. Let's pull up the web page and have a quick look. My thoughts, I've got some thoughts on it. I'd like to hear yours first, if you like this type of thing. As I said, there's no sponsorship going. They don't even know I was bringing this up, other than I sent them an email and a quick SMS this morning. And I said, look, if you've got time, pop on. But they're in Queensland time, and who knows, very late notice. But I'd like to hear what you guys have got to say, and I will. I am in touch with these guys, so who knows where this may lead. But we've got to put them out there, right, to try it. Let's get the new page being shared here. I'll share the screen onto that website there, Composta. So Composta, and then we'll go to their, scroll down a bit, and we'll just have a bit of a look in the center here. Now, I need to get my page up so I can see it a little bit better. Pull it side by side. So you can see in the middle of that page there, the woman with a small child, and it's obviously playing around with the worms and the compost and feeding it in top. Now, my only thing that I can see the problem with this is that, and hang on, because there's good and bad points that I can see so far, is that it's a small tube, right? It's a small farm. So that means it's going to heat up really quick in the sun. So you would be growing herbs that grow mostly in shaded areas and leafy greens and things like that. It would mostly, the food that's coming in would be mostly highly nitrogenous based. You could maybe grow, you know, depending on the sun, and if you put something up and you sort of grew over the top and shaded it a bit, then maybe you could do it like that. But, you know, perfect for on shady or semi-shady verandas, or even in summertime, I mean in wintertime, in the sun, you know, you grow those plants that are in season. And I think it's a really cool little unit. I think, like, great for kids to learn about how sort of these worms and compost feed plants. I think that's one of the beautiful things about it. I don't think you would probably get worms breeding in it, because it just wouldn't have the surface volume. You would need to be introducing more worms over time, or they would just keep that same number and you wouldn't get an expansion of worms. So if you had another worm farm, such as a 3-tiered system, you may be grabbing the extra worms that are breeding up and putting it into there, like I was saying, for the biggest worm farms ever system. So really, in a way, this is a small portable one of those, but it's not connected to the ground, right? So it's not going to work the same, but it's still a system that grows plants using the power of worms. And I don't know if it falls in the 10x category, but I think it's pretty cool. So I'm going to keep moving through. Now, as I said, I only discovered this one fairly recently, and so it's all very, very new to me. And I believe the leafy greens that it would grow out of this, and even some strawberries if it's not too hot, the system doesn't get too hot. And so if we go to the order page, we'll have a look how much it is. And so we should be able to see that quite well here. I just want to make sure we can see that. And so, yeah, the product's pretty much all the same. Doesn't look like they got any different sizes and things. But we'll just pull that down where I'm down in the side there. And we'll have a look at the pricing of it. And again, I want to know what you guys think about it. So let's keep moving forward here. So we've got 20% off, $190, $267 for 3 of them, and that one says $119 for 1. And then they sell composting worms with it as well for $32. And as I said, they're only on the Sunshine Coast, which isn't very far from me at all. Only a couple of hours up the coast, or sometimes just a bit over an hour, depending on traffic and all those type of things. So I'd be interested to know what you guys think about it. I'll just go back to the homepage, so it sort of just scrolls through and gives everyone a bit of a look if they're coming in a little bit later. And yeah, we'll have a chat about what you think about it. But at the same time, I'll pull myself side by side here, and look at that nice big lettuce. You know, like, I know that this will work, but it's just a matter of how, when, and where, and the placement and things like that. Anyway, let's get rid of it. I find it a bit annoying, sort of just going backwards and forwards. We'll pull some more questions across. If you've got Q&A for today, happy to answer them. Just put a big Q next to it. Otherwise, I think you're chatting between each other and things like that. And anything that's sort of not related, we can talk about that now as well, if you've got any other questions or things that you'd like to add to this live show today. Okay, let's keep moving. It's a double win-win method. If the weeds keep producing and the ground isn't being opened up, the leaf produced to worms. The weed will pass when it's done. Totally. That's, so we're talking about my biggest worm farm ever systems. Also, the weed is prevented from going to seed. Very, very true. And yeah, that's on the Gold Coast, that company. And we'll just keep moving through. Here we go. Here's our first opinion on that product. Looks interesting, but it's not deep, so it can only grow smaller rooted stuff, in my opinion. Yeah, well, that's a really good point. So strawberries, lettuces, you know, bok choy, some Asian greens, things like that. But look, if you don't have much garden space and you want to do that type of gardening, I think it's pretty cool myself. 119 bucks, yeah, it's not too bad considering a worm farm is not far off that these days. Deb reckons it's a cool idea. Certainly an interesting concept. Seems perhaps well suited to smaller gardens like patio and balcony gardens. Yeah, and he's got, you can see it's actually been filmed on a balcony. That's where I started Marty's garden, on a balcony like that. And so, you know, I could imagine, you know, like having a few of those on my balcony when I started then. Those type of things didn't exist, and I hadn't even come up with any ideas of how to do that. Who knows, you know, you just don't know what people are doing around the place that don't share things on the internet. It could, you know, could have been around for ages. But yeah, Kieran, so good point. Better for small spaces, even for elderly and stuff like that that don't want to sort of dig and all that type of things. They don't want to use hydroponics, they still want to recycle. Kieran, good morning guys. I got myself an old Aussie rot composter. I'll have to fork it to aerate, but we are moving in the right direction, making soil. That's it. Moving in the right direction and making soil is a really great point for sure. That's and patience is a bit of a key. It just keeps on getting better as we go. So if you've come in late and you've missed the show, I've run out 2 videos and I'm showing how I'm actually using these worm farms to connect them up to the ground with excess worms once we've learned how to worm farm well, and grow plants. So using it to grow plants by feeding the garden, and also turning it into a little micro business at the same time if you want to go in that direction. Let's go, Cheryl. It's like we are talking about on Tony's show about growing in a raised bed. Same idea. Yeah, I think so. A little bit different. That's more just like I said, it's small, it's compacted, it's for small rooted plants, things you can move it around, stuff like that. My ones that I've got, the biggest worm farms ever, you connect them up to each other. And so when Tony and I were talking about, they only go out so much distance, a foot or something like that. But once you start connecting them all up, they'll actually go to, that worm will travel 2 meters, no problem, to go to the next farm and go up into the next farm. I've done it, proven it, and so you can set these systems up. Now, or you can have like 3 or 4 just around. You can have one underneath your fruit tree, it's shaded, and you just throw in the compost in, you've got excess worms, and it's just feeding that whole fruit tree just beautifully. But you've got to have excess. And then you can have maybe another fruit tree, you know, another one 2 meters away under another fruit tree, and they will climb out when it's raining under mulch and things like that and get to the next one. They'll breed up, lay cocoons, and they spread. So yes, in above raised beds, it's a little bit different. But when we're talking about this, talking about in the ground systems here now. Let's keep going. Balconies, small spaces, yeah, for sure. Good for like people that haven't got much space, I think, and it's heading in that direction now where everything's getting much tighter and compacted and all that. Like, you know, we had an acre of land when I was a kid, got sold, and someone bought it out, and they put units on these things and all that. So everything's getting smaller. 119, that's not affordable for people these days, in my opinion. Yeah, it depends, I guess. You know, everyone's got different amounts of volume of money and stuff like that. But this is what we want to know. We want your opinion. Whether you think it's a bit expensive. Would I go and buy one for $119? No, because I do things differently. But if I was on a little veranda and I had a little worm farm myself and I had a few potted plants, I might consider, if it got a bit of a discount, possibly. I still think people that could afford it could be an okay product. Who knows? They might even send me a couple. Like I said, they only just learned about me today. Yes, Cheryl, small space hobby type grower for sure. But you would get, you know, like you wouldn't get 3 or 4 of them. That wouldn't make sense, you know, because then it would be $400 to grow these little patches of food, you know, and up. So it would take a long while to get your investment back. But as far as, I think one of the best things is just showing kids, you know, and it sets off that training thing. That training thought. Or if you just, you know, 1 or 2 people living on your own, you got a couple of pot plants and things like that. Yeah, Interesting. You know, I think it's really worth showing anyway, and definitely worth bringing to the community to have a look at. Anyway, keep rolling out your questions, guys. Happy to answer them. We've been running for about 55 minutes nearly. We usually go for around about an hour, so we'll go a little bit over an hour today. I'm pretty sure these guys will come and check out this video and see and get your thoughts from it. Yeah. As you are now saying, Marty. Yeah, yeah, 4 or 5 of them, I don't see it being feasible. But it's, you know, obviously they've done their tests. I'm pretty sure people would buy these things. I know they buy those little tiny hydroponic ones that they sit with a little crappy light over the top and they produce the same amount of food. They're about the same price. If I had a choice between the two, I'd be going the little worm farming one. You know, they obviously hold more. They're not burning electricity. You're getting a better quality product, and you're able to use some of your you know, the composts and the foods and things coming out. But like I said, you would need another worm farm because you got to top it up, and who knows how long they live for in those things and stuff. So good idea. I'd love to try one. If they want to send, if you guys are listening and you want to send me one, you've got my number. I've sent you a message via email, etc. But then I can't afford hydroponics, lol. Yeah, look, there are ways to do hydroponic gardening very cheaply. Mike Van Doozy, a friend of mine, does that here on YouTube. But you're better off sticking with one method and going with what works best for you. Here's a good, and I recommend organics all the way if you can. I do hydroponics from time to time because I feel that it has its place, but I'm predominantly an organics guy, you know, and I'm into nature, taking control of our environment and providing our food and things like that. I just prefer it. Okay, it would be great for schools. Our kids do a bit of growing. It's all about that education for sure. That's what I was saying, like about the kids on the veranda. Such a good idea for schools. I'm pretty sure they would have thought of that, this company already. If they're on the bandwagon, I'd be going and giving some to schools and getting everyone to the kids to Instagram it and stuff like that, you know. So yeah, great point. Anyway, look, if you got any more questions or anything related to worm farming, organic gardening, permaculture, maybe growing fruit trees, all those type of things, you know, bees and bringing birds in and maybe connecting these worm farms up like I'm talking about, then please feel free to ask a question. Nothing is regarded stupid here. We've got all different levels from beginners through the expert on this show every day, which we've been running 9:30 Sydney, Australia time, weekdays at the moment. There may be one day where I might be going surfing, guys. I've got a call. Hey, boys, want to go surfing this week? So if you don't see me here one morning, that's where I am. I'm going for a paddle with my buddies. It reminds me of kids' sand tables. That was what I thought of first time. Okay, yeah, right. I think it's a wonderful idea for in schools and stuff like that, especially primary schools. Even like I used to do like what they call it, like a kindergarten where I built a veggie garden in there, and they used to come in and help and stuff. I had a little worm farm set up, and I used to just keep, I did that for free, and that was really fun. So thank you so much for sharing that amazing thought, Karen, because you never know, Kieran, because you never know who's watching it. You know what I mean? Like a school could be watching this or something like that. And I like to support small business, and obviously these guys are having a go. Like I said, I've never met them, but hey, if it's doing that type of thing, it's recycling and educating and stuff like that, I think it's great, and I do wish them all the best. So if you come in late on the show, I rolled out a couple of videos showing how I'm 10xing the garden by adding these big above ground worm farms and connecting them to the small, by starting off with smaller ones. So if you're interested in worm farming, you want to start off, the best way is just to have a 3-tiered system. And I teach that in my ebook, also right through this channel. But if you want to learn quickly, you can access the ebook or the Worm Wranglers members area. And level 3 has all the stuff in there, even from raising seedlings using worm castings and the teas and the drenches and things, so the nutrients that we get out of there, and showing you everything from raising seedlings right through. So it's an amazing raising seedlings course just on its own. That's in level 2, but level 3 you get access to everything. If you only go into level 1 and you just want to do it cheaply, it's about $3 a month. You can then become a Worm Wrangler member, and get access to the community in Facebook. So yeah, I think a good way to go, cheaper than a cup of coffee. I don't know anywhere where you can get that value for $3. That's 3 Australian dollars too, man. If you're American, that's like $2. All right, let's keep it going here. Marty, thank you. Also, everyone in chats, thank you. Bye. See you, mate. We're not too far from closing off anyway. Thanks for coming in, the Fourth Wiseman, and I appreciate your time here, mate, and your input. Q, question. Would you look at creating a DIY kit for the basics of a worm farm? Could it be done cheap? Or at the point, is it better just to dump some worms in the garden bed? You're better off making a DIY underground worm farm for excess. So you can use a foam box, but foam boxes break apart. You can use the tiered part. So if you've got a 3-tiered worm farm, you connect up 2. You can use that other tier, put it in there, and just grow around the outside. And generally, when you put them in the raised garden beds, you know, you'll get anywhere from a foot to a couple of feet radius where the nutrients are coming out and feeding the plants around there. And yeah, thanks for dropping in, mate. It's always good. I love it when everyone says goodbye and hello to each other and all that stuff. What we normally do at the end of this show is we say goodbye to each other, and you say goodbye to me, and it's really enjoyable. I roll out a bit of music, and we just sort of cruise off. And so yeah, it's been really great, and I'm hoping that you've got a lot of value out of the show so far. And let's have a look here. It depends on what they're aiming for. It's the audience they're aiming for. I'm not sure who at the moment, but the price puts me off, sadly. I totally get it. And bring across Deb here. So won't be long, we'll be rolling out some music. It's been the 4th month now with the worm farm. It's time to harvest some black gold. They've started to explode. Well, that's brilliant. So you're a worm wrangler, Deb. So you would have seen the easiest way to harvest your castings and worms, and you've done all that. So that just go back over that video again in there in the level 3, and when you're going to do that to get the best results. And if you believe that you've got more than 1,000 worms, you're going to need to expand out and put them somewhere else maybe, or put another level on there until you've got another way for them to put something else. Or maybe put some in a new worm farm. Yeah, maybe. We'll see how you go once you do the harvest. Let us know in the members area how things go. Maybe you can whack some photos in there in the Facebook group, and be good to see those. All right, so we've still got 11 people here. I've said goodbye a few times, so people start leaving then generally. If you've come right through to the end of the show via rerun as well, and you've really enjoyed it, please let me know. I'm looking at the concept of where I can actually might be able to pull the chat up in the right-hand side here. Right-hand side here, and it runs down for people watching the replay. It just depends on how long they're watching the replay, and if people would like to see that, or if it's going to affect the system, I'm not too sure. But Deb says that she will do that, so I think that's a good idea. I'm going to roll out some tunes now. Please start saying goodbye to the community in here. If you're making friends, you're meeting new people, you love saying g'day and goodbye. It's all about community and sharing the experience in here, and that's why I'm doing my best to get on here every day for the moment until I go to, I'm going to film school, guys. And we'll definitely be rolling out live shows then, but maybe we'll cut back just a little bit. We'll go to 3, 4 or 5 or something like that. Let's get some tunes going. Now, I don't pick the music here. They just give me options for some pretty daggy new music, but we'll start off with some lounge music. Let's do that. See how it goes. They're in loops apparently. And I'll pull them across, guys. You can say goodbye to each other. I'm getting rid of that one. Chill music's my favourite one. We'll go back to chill. And do a bit of DJ Marty, and pull across the comment, say goodbye to each other, guys. And thanks for coming. It's unreal seeing you all here. Love you all. I really do appreciate everything you do. We all do. Can't get any music in here. I've been trying. Maybe we can find a way. Put a video in here or something. Okay, I think that turns down the sound as we're sort of moving through. I've got a song that that everyone really loves, and it's called "To the River" by Michael Shines. I used to be able to play it in the other software, but that can't do anything that we do here now on this show to make it so dynamic and live and everything. And unfortunately, I'm unable to upload, but I might find a way where I can put a little video at the end or something like that with the song. That could be a good way to go. We'll work something out. But I just do appreciate you all coming along, coming to watch the show. We'll be back if I'm not surfing tomorrow, so keep an eye out for the thumbnail. I usually put them a good couple of hours or the night before on there. But generally, if you check about an hour before the show, then you'll know that we're definitely going live tomorrow. I'm 100% going surfing. Got to spend some time with some friends. And don't know if it's tomorrow or the next day. Thanks everyone for being here. See you guys. Cheers for letting me pick your brains again. That's what it's all about, Kieran. Thank you so much for all your support and coming to watch. Worm Wranglers rock. Yes, you're rock, guys. Love you all. Have a great day. Happy everything, gardening, and just enjoy life. And we'll see you at the next video live show real soon. Bye for now. Oh, don't check out all the videos. There's heaps come out if you've missed them in the last week or so. And man, there's some gold in there. Bye for now.